Hello and welcome, Lynx here. We are playing the end of an obsession by ebi-hime. Some ASMR in the background, apparently. And it's finished. Right, I mean, let's get to it. Another repeat of the events? Probably. I really hope something will change around them. Cause, well, unlike the main character of the game, we actually do remember everything that happened. So, yeah. Even though she might feel like she's experiencing it first time, we don't, so yeah. Anyway, you feel pain when you finally wake up. Your whole body burns as though cast into flames, and the first thing you do upon waking is scream! You scream over and over again like a banshee, all while tearing at your body, grabbing fistfuls of glove between your fingers as if you mean to rend your own nightgown asunder. Somebody stabbed you. You can remember that much. Ooh. A knife plunged your chest, between your lips, and pierced your heart. You bled out and you died, and it hurt. It hurt so much you don't know why you're still here, unblemished, or why you're still breathing. I can't really speak about like the heart, obviously, in this case, but it's true. When something that is inside hurts, it is quite unbearable. In my case, it was something else. Yeah. In my case, it was just an appendix, but it hurt like hell. And it was cut out eventually. Anyway, what is going on? You shouldn't be alive. You died, you're sure of it. You know that you died. You felt yourself dying. You felt your corpse slowly becoming cold as you lay there, still and stiff. A porcelain doll made immovable, mutable flesh left to mold and wither away. But your chest is whole. You're not going clean. There is no blood. There is no wound. What happened? You examine yourself, your heartbeat slowly steadying. With shaking hands, you press your fingers to your chest, as if this act might reveal some secret cavity in which you can wriggle your digits inside like worms. You pat yourself down, but in vain. There is nothing wrong with you at all. And now you're starting to feel rather silly. You flush, embarrassed at your unseemly conduct, when all of a sudden you hear a footstep. You whip your head upwards, the lights in the room flickering, the moon outside sinking, then rising again, and... I see you're finally awake. You recognize the voice, but where is its owner? Ah, just there. You see her now. There is a woman standing by your bedside. She has hair the color of sunset that curls around her face. Her eyes are soft and a smile plays about her lips. Oh yeah, they are actually kinda yellowish at the ends around her forehead. Haven't noticed that before. Huh. She looks sweet, like an angel. But you know only too well that looks can be deceiving. Have you not spoken to her once before? In this very room? You are sure you have, but the harder you try to grasp the details, the more faint and flimsy they become. Perhaps you are making it up. You always have had a penchant for daydreaming. You have not seen this one before, and if you have, you must have seen her in a dream. Or else perhaps a nightmare. Oh, you poor thing! The woman toots. It is almost as though she can tell what you're thinking. Or maybe she can simply see your feelings written up on your face, because she says, you look to be in a bad way. Oh, you're awfully dazed, but I ought to be able to help you. Here, drink this! The one with eyes like roses hands you a mug. One which is at her airfern. Airfern? Okay. And full of some warm liquid of a suspicious honeyed hue. You look down the cup, and it's done brown contents, askance. Is this really safe for human consumption? Yeah, it's fine, silly. I've not poisoned it, if that's what you're worried about. In fact, it's the opposite. The opposite? Indeed.
I enchanted it to soothe any unwanted aches and pains, and I'm sure your head is aching. It must be, after everything that's happened.
What happened?
No. I'll only answer one question at a time. It will get confusing otherwise, and you must be plenty confused already. Now, come on, drink.
You're a little hesitant to fulfill this woman's request. She's a stranger after all, and you have no idea what the liquid inside the cup is. This could be some sort of trap. But the woman is smiling and she doesn't necessarily look wicked. Perhaps you can trust her? You bring the cup to her lips, not knowing what else to do. The wave of her expectant stare is uncomfortably heavy and begin to sip. The drink is warm, surprisingly so. It makes your lips tingle. As for the taste, well, it's not unpleasant. In fact, it's quite nice. Is that honey? You only intended to take a small sip of the curious drink, but before you know it, you have downed the whole thing. It tastes too good, and your head does feel a lot lighter now. You thank the woman hesitantly. You know not what else to say, and she beams.
It's alright. I thought you could use it to pick me up after everything. You've not had an easy time of it.
Haven't you?
No, you don't remember?
The woman asks. Not a single thing.
Well, maybe that's for the best. What happened to you was probably quite traumatic, so I did try to be gentle. I don't want to cause you any undue hurt, but here is the thing. It's surprisingly hard to kidnap a princess from a palace without causing a bit of a fuss.
The woman laughs. Her laughter is light, just like her voice, and it washes over you. It ought to be soothing, just like the drink she prepared you, but it isn't. Your shoulders do not get any looser. Instead, your whole body tightens. A princess, did she say?
Yeah, that's right, you're a princess, and I'm a witch. Everybody in the kingdom said you were singularly beautiful. Not that I put much stock in those rumors, of course. I mean, how many people can say they've actually seen a princess? I thought it was all hearsay. Just stuff and nonsense, really. But then I happened to glimpse you during a royal ball, held to celebrate you right in here, and I realized the rumors were all true. You really are beautiful. You're so beautiful, in fact, I had to have you for myself.
The woman of a witch leans forwards. She's still smiling, but there's something unsettling about it. Her teeth, you realize with a start, are awfully sharp. Her nails, meanwhile, are terrifyingly long. She cups your face in her hands, her long fingers resting against your cheekbones. Her nails scrape against your skin like knives. Her breath smells sweet, but only superficially so. Underneath it, you think you can detect something of a crypt, something faulted.
I've been laying low for a while, keeping to myself. I've been awfully good these last 100 years, but it does get boring, you know. I was being on my best behavior. I'm a witch, so I'm supposed to cause the odd commotion here and there. It's all part of the profession. Witches exist to curse people and to cause problems.
Lightly, the witch giggles, her sickly sweet breath skimming your face.
And princesses exist to be kidnapped, especially pretty ones like you. That's the way it is. It's the way it's always been. I'm just fulfilling my role in this little story, so please don't get me and mad at me. We can help our innate natures.
The witch leans in further still, her long fair eyelashes trembling.
You look so pretty in that gown of yours, which was paler than the moonlight. But I think you look even prettier as my prisoner, at my mercy, in this tower.
You're in a tower?
Yeah, that's right. It's a nice tall tower out in the forest. Nobody knows where it is except myself, and it's protected by all sorts of enchantments. It's not possible for anybody to get in or out. Anybody except me, of course. The king and the queen can send out as many search parties as they want. It won't make a blind bit of difference. You will not be escaping here in a hurry. You're all mine, to do with as I please. And I'm not going to let you go.
The witch's eyes flash like lightning. For a few moments she looks unsettling, unnervingly inhuman. You want to push her away, but you can't. Your body no longer wants to obey you. Was it the beverage she gave you earlier? The one which tasted of honey? You do not know. You have no earthly clue why your body has frozen, why you cannot bend your fingers nor blink your eyelids. But these thoughts and all the other thoughts for that matter are soon scattered. The witch dips her head. She closes her eyelids, her long lashes matting together. She parts her lips, then presses her mouth, which tastes of sugar and soil and something sinister, something which you cannot describe, against yours. You, of course, are powerless to resist. How could you ever hope to push her away? You are only a princess. She meanwhile is a witch. It is her job to dominate you. Is that not how stories such as this always go? Maybe. Once again, you feel groggy when you wake up. The back of your head is still pulsating and your mouth is dry, as though it has been stuffed full of wool. Your stomach meanwhile is coiled up in knots. You feel sick. What if this game is just constant loops? Never-ending loops, and our character never realizes anything. Am I in for a really huge feeling of being in hell? What time is it? You sit up in bed, blurrily, half asleep, wiping your eyes with the back of your arm when...
Oh, are you finally awake?
Oh? You glance up, your head snapping into position like a ball-jointed doll's. Then you take in the woman standing before you, or is she a woman? It is hard to tell, her appearance is oddly amorphous, seeming to shift even as you observe her, between various ages, various states of being. In one moment she looks younger than you, fresh-faced and rosy-cheeked, a young maiden not yet in her 18th year. But in another moment you could swear she is ancient beyond mortal comprehension, decades of experience painting her face so that the hollows of her eyes seem to sag. How old is this girl, woman? This apparition of no fixed appearance, with her pale skin and her pale pink hair. You do not know. You cannot get to the bottom of her. She is like a puzzle box, a mystery which demands solving. But you are tired and your head hurts, and you scarcely know who you are, let alone who this girl, this woman is. You cannot think. It hurts to think. But that does stand to reason, does it not? The woman, did she not introduce herself yesterday as a witch? Said that you were a princess, and princesses are not supposed to think. If you try to employ too much brain power, you will accomplish not, save ruining your good looks. It is better to not bother. You ask the witch what she is doing, an innocent inquiry tempered by sleep, which makes her laugh.
What does it look like, my dear? I'm waking you up.
Well, yeah, you can see that.
So why ask, huh?
But what time is it? It seems awfully early.
It's not so very early, really. It is a sensible hour. One that young maidens, fair princesses such as yourself should be up and about. I'm sure your servants awoke you far earlier than this, when you still lived in the palace, to help you with your toilet. Did they not bath you, brush your hair, dress you?
Did they? You cannot rightly remember, but the witch is waiting for an answer, and you don't want to disappoint her. If you really are a princess, surely you must have had servants. You not, what else are you to do? And the witch smiles.
I knew it! You should have been awake hours ago. But I am an uncommonly kind witch, and I won't scold you for being slatternly. I used to be scolded myself when I was younger for, all sorts of misdemeanors. Most of them were made up. I don't know what to do unto you as others it to be, not when you're my very precious guest.
Your face colors a bit at the compliment, for you cannot help but wonder who'd be foolish enough to scold a witch.
Well, I wasn't always a witch, you know.
Was she not?
No people aren't born as witches, dear one. They become them after being subjected to enough hair during their lives that they wish to shed their former selves, so that they might attain power of their own. Witches are humans who have been wronged, who wish to inflict some part of their suffering upon others in turn. Not that I mean to hurt you, of course. That would be a waste, when you have such a pretty face, and such a lovely long hair too. Now!
The witch beams, looking positively perky, as she retrieves a gilt-backed brush from your bedside table.
Would you let me brush your hair for you, dear one?
Your hair?
Yeah, your hair. It is awfully tangled, and you have rather a lot of it to look after. You must have been tossing and turning in your sleep, because you've noted it. I doubt you know how to brush your own hair, what with your fancy upbringing, so may I?
You eye the witch hesitantly, some of your former unease returning to you. Why, you ask the witch, does she care about your appearance so much? Why does it matter when you are trapped in this tower?
It matters because you're a princess, dear one. A princess is still a princess, whether she's in a palace surrounded by her courtiers or trapped in a tower with a wicked witch. In fact, one might argue that a princess is even more of a princess when she's being held hostage by a witch.
How does that work?
It's how all of these stories work. Princesses and witches are just two sides of the same coin. The good and the bad, the maid and the hag. Not that I think I look particularly hag-like.
Agreed.
As far as witches go, I think I'm a bit of an anomaly, but you're an anomaly too. When it comes to princesses, your hair is a rat's nest. I need to make you look presentable.
To be fair, do you know that, for example, witch from the Goblin Slayer, right? That's more my type. But at least she's not a hag over here. Anywho. For whose sake?
For the sake of satisfying story.
You don't understand what she means by story. This is real life, is it not?
Well, I wonder, what is real which is not is often up to the beholder. You wouldn't wish to look disheveled should a handsome prince chance by your tower, would you? That would make an awful first impression.
Now that I think about it, I could have just skipped, used the yesterday's video and upload it as another one, and yeah, that would work. Is it like the prince would stop by here?
Not in the slightest, but how does spring eternal? If daydreaming about being rescued keeps you going, then who am I to rob you of that opportunity?
But fine, I will go through the hell. Like that. Hell which the princess over here doesn't experience because she doesn't remember. Goodness, that is so generous of her.
I know. I'm a veritable saintess. Now come here. Your hair isn't going to brush itself.
The witch has to go through this sort of hellfall, right? Unless she's weird and she enjoys repeating the same events over and over. Yeah. Anyway. You can see that the witch is very insistent about this. For why, you cannot fathom, so you give in. Unless the witch also is able to erase her own memories. And that way she only has the memory of kidnapping the princess, supposedly. But doesn't remember the events of the next days. Can she do that? Maybe. Dude, I'm just creating like weird theories right now. Anyway, it isn't as though you have many other options, being locked away in this tower as you are.
Excellent! Now just leave everything to me. I have experience, you know, when it comes to making princesses look pretty.
Oh, really? Is she in the habit of kidnapping them?
Wouldn't you like to know?
The witch giggles as she settles down upon her bed and reaches for her hair. Your body tenses at this initial contact as if fretful she might strike you, might slice you. But the witch, despite her title, does neither of those things. I mean, technically she doesn't have the title of someone who would be stabbing you or anything, right? Instead, she begins to work, as obedient as any drudge, running the comb through your locks over and over and over again until they start to crackle. On the third morning, you are ready and waiting for your visitor when she arrives, or perhaps appears would be a better word inside your tower. You've come to expect the witch's presence, so you are not surprised when she takes a seat at the side of your bed. You regard her uneasily. Still at heart in your nightgown, your hair rumpled after yet another night spent tossing and turning. You think that you had nightmares last night, though you cannot remember them, not clearly. Perhaps you were running in them. Is that why you woke, feeling so tense, your heart beating a staccato rhythm inside your breast? Yes, that sounds about right. You were running, you can recall, albeit faintly, through a forest. But then the witch holds up a wicker basket from which a truly mouth-watering smell emanates, and your half-recalled dream dissipates before your very eyes. The witch giggles, and in a girlish manner she says,
Hungry?
Briefly you think of denying her query. For you know you are being unreasonable, it is almost like an accusation, as if she's mocking you for needing to consume food to live. For some reason the mythic the witch that you possess such a base needs feels excruciating. You would just as soon admit that you like rolling about in the dirt like a beast. That is how she makes you feel. You keep your mouth closed, your lips pressed together, but though your mouth might be silent, the rest of your body is not so obedient. From your stomach, a low, earthly rumble emits, loud enough that there is no mistaking that. You wind your arms about your stomach, but it makes not a blind bit of difference. It continues to rumble regardless, low and deep, like undersea disturbance. The witch notices it. Well, of course she does. How could she not? And she giggles.
Well, at least your body is honest, even if your mouth isn't.
Your face flushes bright red at this, of all the indignities, but the witch does not linger upon it. Perhaps she's trying to spare you. Instead, she reaches in her wicker basket, then holds a flaky pastry out towards you. You stare at the pastry, your gaze affixed to it as if it were a holy grail, a sacred relic. All of a sudden you can think of nothing but food. You are in the ravenous, so much so it almost scares you. It is strange, though. You cannot recall feeling hungry at all, not until the witch presented the pastry to you. It is almost as if your body forgot what it meant to be hungry until now. You could have done without the hunger pangs, but now you remembered what hunger is. You can feel it gnawing on your insides. You are not dripping at the mouth, at least, but you might as well be. You could reach out and take the pastry from the witch's long, bony fingers, then stuff it into your mouth. You could tear your teeth into it, and swallow it in 2 bites. The thought is a tempting one, but it is not very princess-like. Starving though you might be, you must maintain your dignity. The witch watches you as you hang back, abashed and toots.
Oh, stop being silly. If you don't get any food in your belly, you'll starve. Not even princesses are immune from hunger. Now, look here.
The witch breaks a piece of the pastry apart with her fingers, then she proffers it to you.
Say ah!
What? Are you really doing this?
Doing what?
This play act, you mean like lovers or else? Does she mean to treat you like a pet?
Hey, I'm not just treating you like a pet. You are my pet. I own you, and you belong to me. You are mine to toy with as I choose. But for the present, I would prefer to be nice to you, not nasty. Don't make me regret the decision.
The witch's eyes narrow, a foreboding shadow crosses her pretty face, for it lasts less than a moment before it dissipates.
Now come, stop this silliness. Eat!
You still feel uneasy, but the witch's voice is firm and hard beneath the layers of sweetness and light, and you know better than to argue with her. You do not want to incur her wrath. You lean in. Then, as being just an enchanted lover, you part your lips for your captor. I was about to say savior for some reason. Even though she clearly is not. You spend your 4th day in the tower sitting by the window, looking out over the forest which surrounds you. There really are a lot of trees, you think distractedly, your legs dangling over the cool lip of the sea. They spread outwards like a green blanket, or else like an ocean wave flipping and undulating in a breeze. You cannot look directly at the ground for too long, it makes your head spin. Just how high are up you? You ask this question to the witch, who is brewing a pot of tea over a small stove. She glances at you, small smile playing about her lips, and says,
High enough, dear one.
You ask her how high that is, and she chuckles.
What does it matter? You won't be able to leave regardless. Not unless you can sprout wings and fly like a bird. Do you think yourself capable of such a feat?
The witch's eyes bore into you. They're sharper than knives, and they make you shudder. You glance away from her, back out of the window over the treetops. There is a moment of silence. The breeze disturbs your hair at the hem of your dress. You exhale. A few moments pass, awkward moments, as the witch hums to herself while you glance out over the trees. A question rises to your throat, one which feels too large for your slender body. You know you'll not like the answer, but you still feel compelled to ask. Why, you ask the witch, did she trap you in this tower in the first place? What does she want from you?
Oh, you silly thing!
The witch steps aside from the stove, then kneels before you. She takes your hands between her long, bony fingers, then gives them a squeeze. A shock of cold knives through you, and you shudder. With white, deer-like eyes, you observe the witch as softly she says,
I don't want anything from you. I just want you.
You do not understand the distinction, and you tell her as much. What does she mean?
What I said, you don't need to do anything, dear one, or say anything. You don't need to be anything other than yourself, of course. I didn't bring you here because I desired you to act in a certain way. I just wish to enjoy your company.
There is something a little flattering, you suppose, about it. Your heart flutters, color rising to your cheeks. But it still does not answer your question. If she wanted only to enjoy your company, why did she have to keep you a prisoner? Could she not enjoy your company in another manner? One that's less inconvenient.
Naturally, that is what I wished, but it isn't so easy, you know.
It isn't.
No, dear one, you are a princess, you see, and I am a witch. We could not have been together if you had remained in the palace. You would have been wed to a boorish, loutish prince who didn't appreciate you, and I would be distraught.
Distraught? Does she really care for you that much?
I care for you a lot, dear one.
The witch speaks softly, her voice disarmingly gentle, as she cups your cheek, her fingers sliding into your hair. Her digits are still disturbingly bony, but you find you don't mind it as much as you thought you would. It no longer bothers you. There is something almost soothing about her touch.
That is why I had to kidnap you, eh? If I want to put it selflessly, I suppose I could say I meant to rescue you from your tedious fate of being wed to some strange man and whisked away to a foreign land taken far away from me. But I'm a witch, so I'm selfish, and that's not really why I brought you here. I brought you here because I want to be with you. I couldn't bear to see and speak to you or touch you. I want to keep you all to myself, which is why you can't live. I knew from the moment I laid eyes on you that I wished you to be mine, and so I took you. That's all there is to it.
And if you ask, your voice shaky, you were to jump out the window, what then?
Then you would soon discover that you are not a witch or a bird and you cannot fly. You would hit the ground and you would break all of your bones, and that would be that.
Then you would die.
Most likely, which is I would advise. Not advise it. I would not advise it. Of course, you're always welcome to try. But you'd be much worse off for it, don't you think?
You suppose being crushed into a bloody meaty pulp on the ground would be significantly worse than submitting to the indignity of speaking to a witch every once in a while.
And you'd say that you're a clever girl. It must be your fancy education. You princesses are all so very smart.
You bask in the compliment for a few moments, but something in the witch's words makes you frown. What does she mean, princesses? Why the plural? Are you not the first princess she has captured?
Ah, well, you know how it is. We witches are very long-lived. We have no lives, just like the God's princess. Meanwhile, I only have one. It would be awfully lonely if I had to pledge myself to one princess, and one alone, when I haven't done it for so many years. You understand it, don't you?
Then are you not the only princess she has kidnapped?
Oh, of course not. So long as princesses exist, witches like myself exist to lead them astray, but worry not. In this moment, you are the only princess I care for, and I will take good care of you. I can promise you that.
Huh. I wonder.
Oh, dearie me, where has the time gone?
The witch addresses you fools during your 5th day spent in captivity after she has tired of toying with your hair. She said your signs rather longer during this visit than she has those in the past, and now the sun is beginning to set. The witch busied herself for hours playing with you as one might a doll. For you, of course, are much more than that. While dolls have hard, impermeable bodies made of porcelain, which are incapable of experiencing sensation, it is not so for you. You feel every single touch of a witch bestows upon you. When her fingernails press against your scalp, you cannot help but shudder. You began to think during the ensuing days that perhaps things would be easier if you were a doll. When you would not sigh from her touches, would not lean into her kisses, for you wish you could lean away. If you could not feel emotions, perhaps the witch would not take so much obvious delight in drawing them out of you. Then perhaps she would not torment you so. Like a playground bully, the witch keeps on pressing. She pokes and she prods until your stony facade crumbles. She takes delight in your whimpers, but she seems to enjoy it all the more when you step at her. You've told the witch to leave you alone before, but she never does. Your aggression only ever procures from her that light, tinkling laughter, which has begun to grate on you, so the laughter of a child who knows not the hurt she is causing. Or perhaps she does know, but she does not care. You're unsure what is worse. The witch finally seems to have had enough of your company, however, because she rises from your bed. The witch observes you, her long-lashed eyes narrowed, and then says,
It's unfortunate, but I fear I cannot spend too much more time by your side. I need to be off, even I have work to do.
It's funny you thought that as witch it was her role to kidnap fair maidens. Is that not her primary line of work?
I wish it would be nice if there was any money to be made in kidnapping maidens. And who knows, perhaps there is. If I put a ransom on you, I'm sure the king and the queen would acquiesce to my request. I could make quite a tidy profit from capturing princesses. But they say you should never mix work and pleasure. While it would be nice to make a profit from my passion, I wouldn't wish to tire of my favorite pastime. That would be a true tragedy.
So she regards kidnapping young women as a pastime.
Well, what else would it be? It's just a bit of a fun.
For her maybe it is, but for you...
Oh, I'm sure I'll get used to it soon enough. I've not been too unforgivably wicked, do you, have I?
You think briefly upon the kisses that the witch has plied you with during the last few days. Her mouth pressed firmly against your own. You can recall the taste of her saliva upon your tongue. It was oddly floral, wasn't it? Everything about the witch is oddly floral, for you think she might be compensating for something. When she kissed you, you thought you could taste the earth and the dirt, silty soil and writhing worms. A moment passes, you blink. Then quietly you say no, she hasn't been too wicked to you. She has by all accounts been treating you quite gently, surprisingly so far, for a witch.
Well, there you go then. You have enough food to eat, and clothes to wear, and books to read. What more could a girl want? For...
Oh, I don't know, your freedom maybe?
Freedom is overrated. How much of it did you have when you were a princess?
That is a good question. You cannot remember.
That's what I thought.
The witch smiles smugly, then she leans in. She takes your face between her palms, cupping it, and then says,
Now look, there are many people out there who seek the aid of witches such as myself. There are many sad, lonely little girls out there with no friends and family and nobody who will listen to them. Granting their wishes is my job, for I fear I've been ignoring their plaintive cries in favor of spending time with you. My clients will probably get angry if I keep shirking my duties.
Now that's peculiar. You are surprised that so many people would willingly seek the services of a witch. Do they not have a reputation in these lands?
Indeed, we do. A bad reputation is better than having no reputation, for some people are desperate enough that they are even willing to turn to the devil for help. I thought that you would know that already, dear one.
Your brow froze, your expression flat and dull, uncomprehending. Did you once turn to a witch? This witch for help in the past? If you led a life as sheltered as the witch is claiming, it doesn't seem beyond the realms of possibility. But this, like so many other things about your past, will have to remain a mystery.
In the case, I think I'll be busy for a few days. I won't be able to pay you as many regular visits as I have been, but don't fret, I'll try to hurry with my obligations as quickly as I can. Second wish once again, like fate ordained.
Fate.
Yeah, indeed. A princess nothing without a witch to keep guard over her. Without me, I fear your existence would lose all meaning. But I would lose meaning without you too. We need one another just like roses need the earth in which they sprout, so of course I will return to you. I couldn't help myself. We're drawn together, you and I, but if you wish for further reassurance, I do not mind making an oath. Now look here.
The winch relinquishes her grip upon you and takes a step back. For a few moments you allow yourself to feel a flicker of relief, soothed by the distance which has now been put between yourself and the witch. But then you see a flash of silver in the witch's right hand and your relief soon withers. What is she holding?
This is the knife, my dear one, just a simple paring knife, really. I mostly use it for peeling fruits, but it should serve my purpose well enough. Behold!
The witch lifts her right hand, holding it upward so it is level with your curious eyes. She extends her long, bony fingers, flexing them so they seem to expand like the unfurling petals of a flower. With her other hand, she holds the handle of the knife steady. Unblinkingly, she intruses the blade of her knife to her palm. Then she presses. Blood begins to bloom on her white flesh in moments, her skin cleaving beneath the tip of a knife. You watch, entranced as goblets of bright red blood splash against the silver blade, sullying it. The witch cuts herself without any hesitation, without any motion, as a gardener might snip through the stems of flower with a pair of shears. Does she not feel any pain? It does not look like it. Her expression is quite impressive, unwavering even. You have wondered before, but you are quite certain now. She truly is not human. She has transcended such petty notions to become something otherworldly, something extraordinary.
Now let me do the same to you.
Does she mean to?
But of course, a pact has no meaning if only one person is making it. Just as promises have no purpose if only one person is willing to keep them. I'm already offering myself unto you, dear one. So you need to offer yourself up to me too. That way we'll always be bound together. Not through words which are flimsy, but through something much more immutable. Both paupers and princesses are capable of telling lies, but blood is always honest.
The witch speaks in a curious sing-song which does not match how cold and inhuman her eyes are. She brings down her knife, smeared copper brown with her own coagulating blood against your palm. She presses the blade to her skin, which is soft and unyielding, unmarked by any calluses. Yours are hands which have never known hard work. Yours are hands which have never before known any hurt.
There, just stay still, alright? That's a good girl, you're doing so well.
But that was before you met the witch. Once more, you find yourself seen by the tower window, looking out over the forest. The witch was right, you think glumly, as you scan the tops of the trees. The tower is really deep in the woods. For you turn your eyes, there is nothing but green, green, and more green. The trees are nigh on endless. You have pondered the pros and cons of jumping from the window before so that you might run to safety, but you already know that this is a full errand. You're unsure whether you can survive the fall, no matter how verdant the grass is at the base of your tower. And even if you did survive and your legs did not break from the impact, which are already two great suppositions, you would not know where to run. You would not know where the city is. For all you know, it could be miles and miles away. It could even be across the sea of lava, across the dark tempestuous ocean. You have no idea if this is the country you were born in, and neither do you know where you are on the map. The witch is the only person who can tell you where you are, and you get a distinct feeling she's not being wholly truthful with you. She responds to your queries, yes, but her words seem to bend just like the sunlight when it meets the surface of a mirror. Her words are like quicksilver, they shift and mutate and you cannot pin them down. When you ask her where you are, she smiles and laughs and says,
"Why, in this tower, of course."
When you ask her where the tower is, she says,
"In the woods."
It's not a lie, of course, you are most definitely in a tower which is situated in the woods, but an attempt to extricate further information from her results in laughter. If you ask too many questions, she invariably starts kissing you. It's quite effective at shutting you up. It's very hard to articulate yourself when the witch's tongue is nudging against your own, and her arms are about you and you are sighing. When she takes you in her arms and she holds you and she kisses you, you forget about your questions. You forget that you're trying to escape, if only for a brief, blissful moment, where nothing much seems to matter save her. And she leaves you and you find yourself feeling more uneasy than ever before, disgusted at yourself for cleaving so easily to her kisses and even more confused. You still have no idea where you are, but maybe the particulars don't matter. You are in a tower in a forest, nobody but the witch knows where you are. Nobody will be coming to save you and you cannot save yourself. Even if you could jump from the window, you can't, and you knew where the city was, you don't. There's something rather uncouth about attempting to escape. You're a princess after all, and princes aren't supposed to rescue themselves. That's not how stories like this go. They're supposed to wait until a handsome prince rescues them, and that's what you do. Like a good little girl, you sit by your window, looking out over the forest, which stretches on endlessly, and you think. You daydream and you deter, but in the end you do absolutely nothing. Once again, the witch doesn't come to see you. It's been 2 days since last you saw her. Only 2 days, but the time has begun to drag. If she went through all of the effort to kidnap you, then shouldn't she make an effort to spend a bit more time with you? You'll have to give her a piece of your mind the next time you see her. It really isn't proper, leaving a lady such as yourself alone for so long. But has it really been that long? It has only been 2 days. But it's not so very much. Why then do you feel so uneasy? You have a vague feeling that in your past life, a life you can't remember, is more than sitting about or lying about waiting. But what else do princes do other than wait? They wait in their palaces for balls, and then they wait at these balls to be asked to dance. And then they wait for handsome princes to propose and whisk them away to other bigger castles. You should be used to all of this inertia, this yawning empty nothingness, but it still gnaws at you. That's why I've been reading. It's fortunate the tower isn't completely devoid of entertainment. There are books, at least shelves full of them, stacked against the stone walls. There are so many books the wood shelves groan beneath their weight. You're hard pressed to pick a book, but eventually settle upon romance. It's frothy and offensive and not particularly interesting, but losing yourself within its pages is better than sitting idle. It at least occupies your brain. It stops you thinking about your predicament, which can only be described as dire. And it stops you too from thinking about her. That really is the most frustrating part about this whole experience. When the witch was with you, forever by your side, you could not wait for her to be rid of her. Now you're rid of her, you had nothing left to look forward to save her the next time. Your world has become very small indeed since you were kidnapped, compressing down on itself until it could be fit inside a walnut shell. That is why you read. If you immerse yourself in somebody else's life, even if it is a made-up life, it might stop you thinking about your own. At the moment, it's the only meaningful way in which you can be free.
Dear ones, really good to see you again, missed you.
That is what the witch says when she appears in the tower one sunny morning, after smoothing down the satiny fabric of her petal-shaped gown and adjusting her hair. You jump upon hearing the witch's honeyed words and drop the book you were perusing from your awkward fumbling fingers. Wide-eyed you glance towards the window where your unexpected for perhaps anticipated guest is standing. You hope it does not show on your face. You don't want to be too woefully obvious, but part of you is relieved to see the witch again. You still do not care for her, of course, she's your captor, but her company is better than no company. For you have always had a fondness for reading. Books can only evade so much of your loneliness. Yes, you think this is the right word for it. Your tower is lonely. You've been trying not to admit it, not even to yourself, because that feels like confession of weakness, but the quiet has been gnawing on you. For the witch is no ally of yours. It is quite the opposite. In fact, it is nice to have another human to interact with. No, you suppose, not you suppose that she's a human, not in the traditional sense of the word. She's still a witch. You cannot trust her, and yet...
How you been getting along, dear one?
The witch asks you, her voice positively skipping as she approaches you.
I hope you've not been too bored without me.
Your cheeks prickle as you dip your head. Quietly you mumble something in response that it has not been too bad really. You've been reading and books are...
Amusing diversions, yes, I know that full well. I used to read a lot myself when I was younger and more awkward than I am now. In my off, all my friends could be found inside the books. I'm glad that we have so much in common. You will have to tell me all about the stories you've been reading later, but for now...
The witch looks you up and down. She takes you in a disheveled state. You've not been awake long, for she's sun is high in the sky and toots. Your hair is full of more knots and tangles than a bramble bush, and the color of your off-white nightgown is slipping down one of your shoulders. You must make quite the sight as position that the witch affirms with a click of her tongue.
Dear, you have not been looking after yourself at all. I know being shut up in this tower must be tedious, but you are still a princess. You can't afford to be careless with your appearance. You really would be helpless without me.
The witch retrieves the brush from her bedside table, then approaches you. She's done this many times before, but you find yourself shrinking away from her regardless. You don't want the witch touching your hair. You don't want her touching any part of you. You don't want to be alone, but you do not want to be with her either. You don't want her to disappear, but you cannot bear to look at her. Wait, I think this sounds different finally. Finally something is different, it sounds. Or I'm just going crazy at this point. Paralyzed by indecision, not knowing what you want, not knowing what to say, you edge away small and afraid, while the witch smiles.
Now let me make you beautiful.
The mattress depressed beneath the witch's thighs and you sigh. Okay, I think I was mistaken. You know, there is little point trying to pull away from her, even if you did, where would you go? The witch is all that you have, without her you are nothing. Your own worthlessness has really been imbued deep within your bones. You not want to admit it to you, but even you cannot deny that. The wave of relief which comes when you finally submit to her. The witch stays with you in the tower for a few days, just as she did when you were first incarcerated. She tells you stories about her travels and about the sad girls whose wishes she so kindly grants. She tells you fairy tales, some of which you remember vaguely from the childhood. She tells with your hair, weaving flowers through it, and she brews you cups of tea to keep you warm. She dresses... I would wish... I would not complain about a warm cup of tea right now. It is kinda chilly around. She dresses you up in various outfits and she paints your face as if you were a doll. Then when the night falls, she takes you to bed, embracing you, your body slotting together as you were meant to be. For her touch unnerves you in the beginning, you begin to find a strange sort of comfort in her proximity. Who else do you have after all to spend time with? Who else will look at you like the witch does, with enchanted eyes and if everything you have to say? Not that she gives you ample opportunity to speak is utterly enrapturing. You have never met a body like her before. At least you do not think you have. Your past is hazy. Your memory is vague and cloudy like the surface of an old mirror, and you cannot remember. Still, you think that the witch must be special. She makes you feel special, and that is reason enough to hold her in high esteem. But when she leaves you, you cannot help but feel her loss. The tower feels uncomfortably empty in her absence, like a newly missing tooth, an empty cavity which ages. You sit up in bed, early in the morning, after departure, and toy with your hair. You run your fingers through it, just as the witch did, but you are hopelessly clumsy and your fingers falter. You try to braid your hair, but you cannot manage it without it coming untied. Part of you wonders whether this is not some great failing, given you are a princess. Are princesses not supposed to take great pride in their looks, primping and preening? You must be a poor sort of princess. But despite that, the witch still cared enough to try and kidnap you. That must mean that you are worth something, if not to your parents, then that they really love you. If I hadn't bothered to look for you, then to the witch. At least you have her, and it is enough for the present to soothe you, no matter how hollow your heart might feel. The days pass slowly as you wait for the witch's return. Not you try to tell yourself that you really care about her. She might have braided your hair also gently, threading flowers through it, and she might have fed you sugary sweet treats with her fingers. But still, she tore you away from everything you once knew and loved. She has ruined your life. You know that you should despise her. But when the witch finally returns, you set your book down a little too quickly and look at her a little too expectantly. The witch seems to notice this. She notices everything with those eagle eyes of hers because she giggles and says,
My, spotty seagull, do you miss me that much, dear one?
Your face flashes this like a red-capped mushroom, and inwardly wins. Aren't princesses supposed to be calm, composed, perfectly poised? You might not remember much of your past, nor of your life in the palace, but you think you should be accustomed to compliments at this point. Surely princesses have been going down one knee and taking your hands for years, ever since your 18th birthday. It should be ingrained in you, but you feel awkward and clumsy before the witch's words regardless, stripped her bare and oddly exposed. It is enough to make you wonder, are you really a princess at all? You look at the fate, you cannot look at the witch, your captor, and mumble something that is only faintly intelligible. Your response is hardly elegant, but the witch catches the general gist because she chuckles.
Come now, don't be like that. I know you like me, really. Otherwise you wouldn't look so enthusiastic.
You tell the witch sullenly in the voice of a truculent child that you are not enthusiastic. She's reading too much into things.
If you say so, dear.
The witch smiles, then reaches into the wicked basket that dangles from the crook of her arm.
It seems like you're determined to be difficult today. For why I don't know. You'll ruin your pretty face, scolding at me like that. But maybe this will cheer you up.
The witch draws something from her basket, and entranced despite yourself, you observe her. You see that she's clutching a small stack of books. 3 of them, to be precise, bound in leather. She holds them to you like a peace offering, her smile soft.
Here? Is this enough to satisfy you, dear one?
You mean to reply, really, you do, but the words catch in your throat. Your initial instinct is to thank the witch for her kindness. But why should you? She kidnapped you. I mean, technically true. But you know, if someone kidnaps you, you maybe don't want to get on their bad side. You don't owe the witch anything. You should not owe her anything, at least, but that makes it all the more complicated to navigate the gift. What should you do? You did there for a few moments, rendered mute. You never know what to say to the witch. While the witch chuckles.
Let me leave these for you at your bedside table. You can peruse them when it's most convenient for you. Or not if I aren't to your liking. I'm not worried she'd have to force the gift upon a fair maiden if she doesn't want it.
That is quite curious, given she was boorish enough to kidnap you.
Now let me look at you. How have you been faring in my absence? I should be doing well, that's good, but...
The witch examines you critically as a sculptor might eye a piece of marble, conjuring with their mind's eye the hidden part piece waiting to burst from within it. Something about the way the witch looks at you makes you tremble. Her eye gaze really discerning. It's as sharp as a razor, uncomfortably so. Why does the witch make you feel like this? You do not know, but you wish she didn't. It makes your skin crawl.
Oh dear, your hair looks awfully naughty. I fear you've not been taking proper care of it.
You ask the witch once more why it matters, and she toots.
Of course it matters. If you stop paying attention to your appearance, my eyes might begin to wander. I'm a fickle woman after all.
She's hardly a woman, she's a witch.
Yes, exactly. We're notorious for being inconstant. I suppose that is what happens when one lives as long as we do.
The witch chuckles and retrieves the gilt backed brush from your bedside table next to the pile of books.
Now, would you let me take care of you? Let's get you looking presentable.
You bristle at the witch's words, hum pet with cheese, for you wonder whether the response mightn't be in part from anticipation. The thought of being taken care of is not wholly unpleasant, even if the one who means to take care of you is a witch.
A few days later.
It's been some months since you were kidnapped, not that you know it. Time has lost all of the meaning to you, shut away within your tower, but it continues still. It is 30 days and soon to be 30 nights, more than 700 hours spent trapped within the stone walls of your new home. Yes, you suppose you have begun to regard this place as home. It is where you now live, whether you like it or not. You have not yet found a way to escape, you do not know if such a way exists. The walls of your tower are thick and impermeable, and your room is too high up for you to jump out of the window. There are no stairs which lead downwards to the entrance at the base of the tower, if indeed there is an entrance at the base of the tower. For all know, there is no way out. Is that not what the witch told you? She said she was the only one able to enter and exit at will. You meanwhile are quieting her troll, incapable of escaping. You have been in there for such a long time, you are beginning to wonder whether you even want to escape. Where would you go if you were able to leave? What would you do? The time unspools before you, each day blurring to another. You have so much time now, but there is precious little to fill it save reading. You have gone through most of the books in your tower already, and you are beginning to long for something more than light. Frothy fairy tales even more insubstantial than sea foam. Perhaps you'll ask the witch for more books when she next visits you, for you have no idea when that will be. Her visits are sporadic, and she does not always stay for very long. She seems to care more about how you look than what you think, and she fusses about your hair and clothes more than your words, but maybe that is to be expected. You're a princess after all, you're raised like a sacrificial lamb to be bartered away to the highest bidder. That is how all princesses are, whether they are engaged to princes or kidnapped by witches. They exist to be looked at and not to be admired. And they think is... And what? Wait, what? What they think is of little consequence. The witch's treatment of you rankled in the beginning. It stung your pride you supposed as a princess. In the beginning you railed against her. Now that you began to miss her company. Every day when you wake you are made aware anew of just how much your world has shrunk. It contains nothing save the witch, there's nothing for you to anticipate beyond her visits, nobody for you to speak to save the voices in your own head. It wears upon you, but you have the strangest feelings that this is where you belong. This is your new world. You are playing the role that is expected of you. For is this not what princesses are supposed to do? Being a prisoner must be in your blood. It is part of you, who you are, ingrained into you, just like your knowledge on how to pour a cup of tea without spilling it, or how to address your superiors without making a nuisance out of yourself. You know how to be quiet, how to be meek, how to be mild. You don't know how to stop worrying, however. What will happen to you if the witch begins to tire of you? What then?
Do you ever feel like screaming, dear one?
The witch asks you this question one day when she's sitting with you up on the bed. Once more she's toying with your hair, her fingers sticking through it like the teeth of a comb. Her fingers long and cold, as are her nails. They scrape against your neck, all the inhumanly tremble, for you try to suppress it. You don't want her to know that she unnerves you, or worse still, that she endears you. You ask the witch, who sounds uncommonly wary, whether something is bothering her, and she sighs in response.
Is it that apparent?
It is rather apparent, yes. It's not like the witch to speak of being tired. You thought this was an emotion which afflicted lesser people, not all powerful beings such as herself.
Oh, you flatter me. I'm hardly all powerful. I endured my fair share of hardships before. I'll simply become the woman I'm today. I've suffered in my time, yes, more than you might realize. But my recent suffering has been, of the more manageable garden variety, I suppose.
Incline her head, taking care not to disturb the delicate braids the witch is twining through your hair in interest. What manner of suffering could you describe as garden variety?
It is silly, really, but
The witch clears her throat, then says,
I told thy grant wishes, yes.
You think she had mentioned it, yes.
Well, there is the thing. Putting yourself in a servile position to others only ever results in headaches. So many girls demand so very much of me, it fast becomes tiring, and they can be so ungrateful too. It almost feels like being back in the conservatoire again.
Oh. Conservatoire, what is that? Some sort of school for witches?
Never you mind, dear.
The witch chuckled softly, her fingers stealing in her hair. She did mention that before, I believe. Again, maybe my mind is too mumbled by this already. Her voice sounds light as always, but you detect a strange note, a degree of hesitance. Did she misspeak? Perhaps she let slip a bit more than she intended.
It is a nuisance, that is all. I vowed that I would not take on more favors for others, but even witches must fulfill their purpose. I have rather begun to sicken of their people. They can go and rot for all I care. But you are different. I know no matter how much hardship I'll have to endure, you will not leave me. You will not abandon me. I won't let you.
Dude, in before, there is a repeat after that, after like 2 lines of dialogue were changed. Oh, Jesus. I hope not. I hope I'm not correct right now.
My, you'll have become a brilliant dear one.
A witch's voice is warm in your ear, her breath ghosting against your skin as she sits behind you up on your bed. Once again, the witch is toying with your hair. She never seems to tire of it, and you no longer try to pull away from her. You do not want to. You have grown comfortable in her presence, more than you imagined you might, and the witch has seen this. She has sensed the easing of your breathing, the slumping of your shoulders, and she smiles from it, amused by but by easier questions to her affection. You become docile, just like a cat. She's well aware of it, and the fact brings a blush to her face. You look at her lap, your eyes half lidded, and tell her that you're simply too tired to fight her off. You've been her prisoner for so long, you'd be foolish to remain antagonistic towards her. She's the one, after all, who feeds you, who entertains you, who gives you company.
You really are a good girl. You're quite a handful in the beginning, but you've warmed up a good deal. It makes for quite a change. Now tell me, dear one, do you miss me when I'm not here?
You swallow. Your own saliva tastes musty on your tongue, like an old dress which has not been worn in years, like a subterranean prison cell which sees no sunlight. For the witch is asking, it is a moot question, she already knows the answer. Yes, you miss her. When she's away, you miss her awfully.
Huh? How nice, I'm glad to hear it. It's wonderful that you can finally be honest with yourself, but I think you're still holding back.
Holding back?
Indeed, I think your feelings towards me, dear one, are even more intense than that. If you miss me, then it makes me wonder. Do you also love me?
You've been fighting off slowly mounting feelings of deja vu since you first awoke in this tower, but this question finally brings you to your senses. You feel as though you finally awoken, just like a sleeping beauty from a long, long dream. The witch has asked you this question once before. You don't say. She asked you whether you loved her and you refused her. You are too proud and haughty to accept her love and you paid for it. She splashed your blood against the tower floor and you were left to lie there in a heap, a sad, pathetic pile. You did not look very much like a princess then, for your airs and graces. The witch left you to die, but she's a merciful witch and she has given you a second chance. For like a millionth time, what will you say to her this time? Oh my god. Yes, she will say she loves you. To let me end this suffering of repeats. In the face of the witch's inquisition, there is only one thing you can say. There is only one thing that destiny will allow you to say. This is the one that your story has led up to. This is why you exist within this tower, with the witch watching over you. You exist solely so that you can love her, and you know, the moment the words pass your lips, that you have done your duty. You fulfilled your role in this story. There will be no more resisting from you now. Your shoulders slump in relief, finally content with your newfound bondage, with this repeating recursive nightmare as the witch smiles. She looks at you tenderly as a mother might a child, as for her child, and you have pleased her by eating all of your vegetables or tidying up your toys. It took some doing, but you've finally given her the correct answer. Of course you love the witch, how could you not? She is all you know in this world, and all you have to rely on, and is a blind reliance, not what love is. The witch seems to agree, because she giggles. Her fingers curl against your captive cheeks, her nails digging into them just hard enough to hurt so sharp she threatens for a brief moment to draw blood. But your concerns are soon allayed, or else overwritten when the witch leans in. Softly she says,
I knew you couldn't keep holding out against me. You were awfully stubborn, but all of that silly resistance is in the past. Fun, you're all mine! My adorable pretty princess!
Then she kisses you, a harsh crushing kiss which robs the air from your very lungs and the essence clean out of your skull. You thought after confiding in the witch she might be more compelled to spend time with you. You had hope, sharing your gently blossoming feelings, it would kindle a newfound understanding between the two of you, and that she would come to care for you. You had hoped. Oh, you're not sure you had hoped, not anymore, but it was not this. The days continue to slide by as slippery as an eel's back, yet you see no sign of the witch. She left you food enough to last several weeks. Oof. Food which does not seem to sprout mold nor turn sour no matter how much time passes. Perhaps it is enchanted. The hard loaves of rye bread the witch bequeathed at you do not turn bluish white from age, and the cheeses she bestows you with retain much of their flavor. The punnets of strawberries are still sweet, the cherries tantalizingly tart. You are not in any danger of languishing anytime soon, but for your stomach is full, your heart feels disconcertingly empty. You just ask for the witch has stolen something from you, something precious which you cannot recover. The witch has already stolen you from your old home, your old life. She may also have stolen your old memories, for you are less sure about that. You are beginning to fear, however, that in the wake of your confession, she has stolen something even more intimate. She has stolen your affection, plucking words of love from your lips, as easily as she might twist a berry from a bush on the head from a flower. She has harvested your feelings in a manner which in retrospect seems uncomfortably calculated. Did she lavish you with gifts so that you might grow to adore her? Did she cultivate your feelings on purpose in the hopes of reaping them, of having something else to steal from you? Now that she has claimed your heart, perhaps she no longer finds you amusing. Has she begun to grow bored of you? What will happen to you then? Will she abandon you all alone in the tower, with no way of escaping, with no means of procuring your own food? If she were to do that, you are sure you would die, either of loneliness or starvation. You are unsure which would come first. You try to take solace within the pages of the numerous novels within the tower, but you have read them all before. The stories sent on within the pages do not change, they can only distract you from your anxieties. The actions of the put upon heroines in any case all seem awfully tried. The result of running through woods, brambles, snagging at the hems of dresses, or else catching in hair, and anyway these stories are all ending badly. The heroine always dies. As far as romance stories go, they are not very cheerful. They cannot console you. The witch is not there, and in her absence you are all alone. Day after day after day. The days continue to pass, but little changes. The witch pays you a handful of visits, but very infrequent, a few and far between, and they are depressingly perfunctory alongside it. These visits do little to assure you that the witch still loves you. How can she when she comes and goes so very easily, just like a cat? If she loved you, could she really abandon you without a backwards glance? You'd not know, or perhaps you do not want to. Dwelling upon it is too uncomfortable. Does the witch not know what she's doing too? Does she not know how much you have come to care for her? Surely she must, for it was she who pulled that confession. Timorous, for it was, and uneasy from your lips. You told the witch that you love her, and she has repaid you by abandoning you. Did you come on too strongly? Was she unhappy to hear you of your affection for her? That cannot be right, for not when she left upon hearing your confession. You thought that it would make her happy, but that was not presumptuous of you. What do you know of the witch? You not even know her name. True. You work yourself up in to knots with every day which passes so much, so your insides feel uncomfortably tangled. Not knowing what to say nor what to do, you remain mute. It is easier to say nothing than to say too much, and to shatter what little regard the witch might have for you. But you age for her presence, for her attention, and for her affection. And so unable to stop yourself, you find yourself asking the witch what you did wrong. Why has she been avoiding you?
Avoiding you, dear one?
The witch looks at you questioningly, her expression so believably bemused that you begin to doubt yourself.
I'm not avoiding you, perish the thought. Why would I something so callous?
You're unsure, that is why you were asking her. She spent so little time with you lately, you just thought.
Oh, that is where you're getting tripped up, dear one. You're a princess, therefore you should not think. You have no need for it. Princesses are made to be pampered by others, not to try and sleuth their way out of their own problems. You'll be much happier if you stop worrying, silly thing.
Well, yeah, I suppose that's right. You can see the logic there. Your life would be a lot easier if you could simply switch off your worries, as if they were a gas lamp, but...
Ah ha ha ha! That's enough, dear one. Remember what I said. There is no sense in thinking. You will work yourself up again.
But you cannot help but think. You have nothing else to occupy your hours when she's away. And she has been away for so often lately.
Oh yes, boss, you're right. I might have been keeping away from you lately, but that is not due to any malice on my part.
No.
Of course not. My feelings for you remain as strong as ever. But I have been awfully busy lately, that is all. There are many sad lonely girls out there, after all, with wishes that need granting. If I have seemed at all distracted, that is why. It has nothing to do with you, so please don't cry. I cannot bear to see you looking so sad.
What were you crying?
Yeah, you are. Your eyes are wet and so are your cheeks. You poor dear thing.
The witch stoods then leans in. Gently, she introduces her fingers to your cheeks, cupping them as if you are something invaluable. When she touches you like that, you feel as though you are precious. On your own, it is easy to get caught up in the mire of your own thoughts, but with the witch...
Easy now. Try not to cry, dear. You will spoil your pretty face.
With the witch, you feel like the princess she claims that you are. She makes you feel as though, for the first time in your life, you are wanted, you are needed, you are safe. And perhaps that is why you begin to cry in earnest. The gentler the witch handles you. You always thought it was foolish saying, to kill somebody with kindness, but now you think you can finally see the logic behind it. The witch is killing you, whether she knows it or not. Even when she leaves you, you are not alone, not truly. She has burrowed her way into your heart, and there you fear she will remain, lodged from now until the end of all times. You will never be able to disentangle yourself from her. You love her far too much for that. You try to maintain a positive attitude as the days elapse, afraid you might deter the witch if you become too mawkish. You can get through the days well enough, brushing your hair, painting pictures, or else sleeping through the numerous books which the witch has brought you. You have distractions enough to keep your mind and your hands occupied in a fact for which you are thankful. You do not have many distractions, but you have enough. When the sun sinks beneath the trees, however, and the sky turns dark blue then black, your doubt begins to pile up on you. During the night, when it is cold and the wind is blowing, you can no longer fool yourself. It's been a week, 2 weeks, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 since last you saw the witch. She visits you rarely now, so much so that your cool, untouched skin is beginning to yearn for the brush of her fingers. You sit by your window when the sun begins to sink, and you watch as it dips beneath the horizon. You hope, with the setting of the sun, that the witch might pay you a surprise visit. You wonder whether she might appear at the window and pull you into her arms, and pepper your eyelids and your cheeks with kisses. But she never does. Completely abandoned, huh? You are sitting at the window once again, as has become a commonplace occurrence for you, dreaming of what could be, of what should be. When first you were imprisoned within the stone tower, you used to dream of escaping from your confines and running far, far away. You had dreams of sitting up on a cliffside, with a salty breeze in your hair, and the sound of the waves up on the shore in your ears. That or seeking refuge amongst rows of thatched roof cottages in a quiet residence where few dwell. You dreamt of being taken in by somebody wiser than you, somebody kinder. You dreamt of being treated with care and with respect. That is all you wanted. But your wishes have shifted since then, as has your heart. You no longer dream of seashore, of the waves and of the cliffs. Your dreams have become rather more isolated. You dream of residing within the walls of this tower, as you currently do with the witch by your side. She tells you that she loves you, and you lean into her love. You accept without question, as if her words were manna from heaven. sweeter than honey. You no longer wish to be loved in a calm, quiet, measured sort of the way. You want the obsessive, all-consuming love of a witch who was determined enough to keep you a captive. What other form of love could be more meaningful than this? You do not want to blend. You do not want a blunt love, a milquetoast love, a common everyday, unremarkable love. You have grown accustomed to the love of witch, a love which possesses and which consumes. You want the witch to love you as you have come to love her. But when the witch finally does come to visit you, you cannot see any love upon her face. You cannot see any love in her eyes. They are cold and hard, just like stones. You gasp when you see her. You do not expect her and scramble to your feet. Your souls are bare. You do not bother to dress yourself. Have not bothered for the last... How many days has it been? You do not remember. You've grown rather slovenly about your appearance. You no longer to brush your hair, to change out your nightgown, to don your petticoats or your bodice or even your stockings. What is the point when the witch has stopped visiting you? You would sooner lie in your bed like a consumptive wench and slowly die. That is how it feels without the witch's company, like you are dying. You've known an intense obsessive love and now it is gone. Without that love you've begun to wither away. It really is a tragedy. You hope the witch will be able to see how much you are suffering without her. You hope that she'll take pity upon how very pathetic you've become and she'll promise to stay with you. You wait with wide, eager eyes, hoping that she will offer you some excuse as to her absence. It needn't be a good excuse so long as it is not, "I've grown tired of you," so long as it is not, "I no longer love you." Or worse still, "I never loved you." If she lies to you, you can still love her. If she lies to you, you can pretend that she still loves you. If she lies to you, she can spare your feelings. But the witch's voice is less than reassuring when she addresses you. Her voice is cool when she says, "Dear me, you're in awful state. You haven't brushed your hair and you haven't bothered dressing either. Some princess you are. Your parents would be ashamed if a creature like you has any parents to speak of that is." A creature? You look at the witch uncomprehendingly. What does she mean by that? "I mean what I said. Just take a look at yourself. If you do not believe me, look at the reflection and then try to argue that you aren't a creature." You would look at yourself, but there is no mirror. You have not seen your own face, save for the faint reflection in the witch's dark eyes for... God, how long have you been trapped in here? "Oh, yeah, I suppose that is true. I was hoping you might remember who you are for yourself. Without me needing to spell things out for you. But you're remarkably dense, aren't you? I thought you were supposed to be wise, but I suppose even the most powerful witches are capable of self-delusion." What? What? Wait, don't tell me it's like a vengeance over here. Oh my god, that would be nuts. Holy crap. Did she return to the, other one and got her somehow under her control and basically made her think she's a princess and so on? And this is her taking her, literally taking her revenge? Holy shit. I mean, maybe I'm incorrect, but that would be nuts. When the truth becomes too unpleasant for them to confront it. What does she mean, witches? You thought that you were a princess. "Oh yeah, I did tell you that, didn't I? I thought it would be amusing, a bit of role reversal, huh? I'd wonder if you would like to be the heroine in a love story for once rather than the antagonist, but this has dragged on for too long already. It isn't entertaining anymore." You are correct. "It was never that entertaining in the beginning, to be honest, but then again, I've never been as cruel as you are and I don't enjoy reveling in other people's misery. I just thought that you deserved a taste of your own medicine." Your own medicine? What is she talking about? "What do you think? Just take a look. This should answer all of your questions, dear one." He, the witch, but is she a witch, smiles sardonically, her eyes half lidded, as she reaches into the wicker basket which dangles from the crook of her arm. From within it, blanketed beneath a scrap of red fabric, she extricates a gilt mirror. The witch polishes the mirror with the hem of her satiny gown, when hands it to you with an anticlimactic "Here!" Your fingers brush as you reach tremulously to take the mirror. Your innate desire upon seeing that mirror is to draw away from it, or else to dash it up on the ground. You do not want to think about what you will see reflected in its smooth, glassy surface. You are afraid if you acquiesce, all of this will be over. You will no longer be able to pretend to be a princess. But you are aware that long last that you are pretending. Perhaps you were always aware of it. You never really felt like a princess, even when the witch bestowed this identity upon you. The word princess never resonated within you. It never felt like you. You still can't remember spending your days within a palace, or a castle, or even a dungeon guarded by a dragon. You can't remember meeting any princess, kings, queens. You're not a princess then. You were never a princess. Oh, for fuck's sake, look in the mirror. But of course you always knew that. You just want to play pretend. But the face which stares up at you from the mirror's smooth, untroubled glass, all pale skin and dark, staring eyes, makes it obvious just what you really are. You were and always will be. Just in case. A witch! That's right! The witch Rosette! Okay. Regards you unblinkingly with dark... The witch Rosette regards you unblinkingly with dark, dead eyes. Eyes which have seen far too much for one so young. But how young is she really? How long was she trapped reading through fractured fairy tales as she tried to escape from you? You do not know. Okay, so it is you from back then. Medea. You hardly recognize her, but recognize yourself. You might have lost sight of who you were, really, when Rosette left you, but now, yeah, it is her. Wow.
Do you remember?
Safe. I remember.
I always remembered. My name is Medea.
Yes, that's right. I
am Medea, and this girl is or was Rosette. And for the paths continue to cross, we've always been alone. This girl, once so innocent assuming, languishing for want of love, has known what it feels like to be adored to the point of insanity. She has been drawn, buried and consumed by love, and in so doing she changed. She is not the girl she once was. She has become a fine witch in her own right, with eyes that reflect no light, with a heart that contains no love. She caught you, me, us, while we were drifting bereft, languishing for lack of a little girl who had oh so cruelly broken ties with us, and she imprisoned us. I don't know how long we've been trapped here for, nor how long Rosette has been toying with us, but I cannot even bring myself to resent her. I cannot hate her, no matter how much she might have hurt me.
I'll be honest, for Medea, at least you made it interesting. Yeah.
She called upon me when she was alone, and I answered. I promised I would be there for her. We made a vow, and though she turned her back on me, our connection was never really severed. The love of a witch, after all, is a powerful thing. Even when poisoned, it continues to bloom, bright red like roses. Rosette. Ah, my adorable, beautiful Rosette. No matter how much time passes, I still find myself drawn to you. Even now, I still adore you. Whether a mermaid, a privileged girl, or a princess, I will continue to love you. My feelings for you will never waver, even if you never had any fondness to spare for me. How could it? You ought to know yourself now, after becoming a witch in your own right, that it really does get so lonely here. She said the previous title!
this nightmare
And I guess we are finished. But who knows, maybe not. Let's see. Let's see. Extras. Gallery. Right, everything unlocked in the gallery. Notes. Oof. Okay. Hello everyone! Once again, it's Ebi! Thank you very much for checking out the end of an obsession. I hope you enjoyed it. Or at the very least found it interesting. As always, I'll jot down a few notes to explain some of the influence behind this little story and what inspired me to write it. Let's get going. I'm still saying that first one was better. Again, Medea made it more interesting. Multiple characters which influenced the situation. And even if someone was basically returned to life, you could go a different path. Over here it was the repeat of the same thing and nothing changed basically on the repeats. And and because of that it was kinda basically tiring to read. Anyway, so off the bat, it's a sequel to get it so lonely here, we know. Lonely is a free under a Yuri VN, we know. Which, oh, VN capital letters, nice, good job. Which I made for the 2023 under a jam, you probably read it already, yes. If you're reading these notes and you haven't, I apologize, I feel like Obsession builds quite heavily on the themes established in Lonely, so if you have not read Lonely, I'm not sure how much you'll get out of it. But it's when it ostensibly has 3 roots, with 3 different heroines here. But player choice is an illusion, it's essentially a linear story. You need to read all through to get the true ending and to fully understand what happens. Yes, but again, Lonely is fairly long for a jump game, suppose, around 50k. I was pretty satisfied with it once I finished, didn't have any plans to write a sequel or any additional content, even though Lonely was unexpectedly popular. I think it's my most downloaded VN to date. Really? Okay. I was going to let it lie, but then I had an idea. I decided I wanted to take another crack at doing a Leander Eurivian story. The initial idea was sparked, it was a vague thought. What if the protagonist was kidnapped by the obsessive Yandere who later grows bored of her and tosses her aside? How would the person deal with that? Who knows? I thought this was an interesting idea and would be pretty sturdy scaffold for a grimdark Yandere story. Initially, I was going to set this story in the modern day and have the main character be some sort of shiny version who gets kidnapped by a stalker and chained up in their basement or something along those lines. I mean, to be fair, if it was like going and going and going and going, eventually it could end up like that, basically. But I eventually decided this concept was just too depressing to actually write. I've written some pretty dark stories in the past which deal with some discomforting subject matter, but the thought of writing about a killing stalking-esque scenario made me feel uncomfortable. Am I incorrect in... I might be incorrect, but I feel like something like this actually was released by someone else. And it is pretty popular. At least YouTube-wise. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to pull it off tastefully, especially since instances like this happen in real life. Yeah, sadly. And even worse cases are happening right now. because countries allow certain people into their borders. I didn't really want to turn such a tragic real world scenario into an edgy show content grimdark, więc so held off on it. I decided to shelve the idea. So you never know when that will be unshelved. Until I was listening to the song Open Window by Hungry Lucy and I was struck by some of the lyrics. I can't hold you tonight, my world wrapped in sorrow, I won't hold you again, so now I'll be all alone. I'm someone who doesn't really listen to the lyrics. Or maybe I'm someone... maybe not don't listen to the lyrics. I'm someone who doesn't hear lyrics. Oh, something like that. I hear everything else, but lyrics, like, they enter and exit immediately. Maybe that's why I never remember any kind of lyrics for songs. The dreamy yearning of this song made me think about my original idea. What if a girl was kidnapped by a Andre who gets bored of her? And I started to reiterate on it. What if instead of setting the story in the modern day, I made it a fairy tale based on Rapunzel? And included several scenes of our love her sitting in the window of her tower waiting, not for Prince to rescue her but the witch who kidnapped her to scare again! It sounded like a more viable way to explore my original idea without it touching on any unpleasant real-world parallels or being too upsetting to write about. I also wanted to write a Rapunzel-style story for a while anyway after reading The Golden Rope, no clue what that is, by Danny Flee, which is gorgeously written gothic retelling of Rapunzel by one of my favorite authors. I love Tiny Leaf's work a lot and you owe it to yourself to check her out. Sure. Her writing is gorgeous, it is significantly better than mine. LOL, hahaha. Bold of you to assume I read anything other than visual novels. To be fair, I do read manga, but yeah. So I decided on what sort of story I wanted to write, but that's when I thought about associating this Rapunzel-esque witch princess captive toxic tale with Lonely was heavily based on fairy tales with its mermaids, princesses, witches, and I thought it only made sense to link these two tales together given the thematic similarities. I figured it would be fun to write something set after the events of Lonely when Rosette has broken free from Medea's loving grasp. Which technically... I mean, sort of did, but the love stayed apparently. Lonely is a pretty vague dreamy story. It is based on fairy tales. That's up for the interpretation and the ending seemed open enough I could play around a little with the two leading ladies after the curtain had closed. I don't know if you could call Medea a leading lady in that story, to be fair, given the fact that she appeared like literally in the last 5 minutes out of nowhere. Rosette already suffered enough in Lonely, so I thought about casting Medea as the main heroine this time. I thought it'd be a fun twist to make a heartbroken amnesiac Medea the princess, languishing in a tower, while Rosette, once the tragic heroine suffers innumerable deaths, takes on the role of witch, twisted by all the misfortune which befell her in Lonely. Rosette vows to take her revenge on Medea by subjecting her to a loop of death and despair inside a fairy tale world of her own creation and fantastical birdcage with no exit, where Medea must fall in love with her or else. Yeah, Rosette has no interest in Medea's love, however, and she's toying with her former tormentor to achieve her own catharsis. She intends upon making Medea love her, to abandon her, and in so doing destroy her completely, and emerge the ultimate winner in their toxic lesbian magical showdown! So this is basically Higurashi Sotsu. You are mentioning this again. Oh boy. There is something I want to check quickly. Where is the game? Oh, now I remember this. Oh, it so makes sense as well. Because on the page of each Datia with the end of an obsession, it features a turret narrator who no longer wants to be involved in this narrative. Wow, it makes so much sense. Because the narrator has to repeat the same shit over and over again. Narrator, I so understand you. Gee. Anyway, basically, there's Rosette, Medea, Rika, and Satog, aren't they? Or maybe you could have we could say they are burning lambda. Ha 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 ha. There's some definite when they cry influences here. I just hope it isn't too overt and this story can stand on its own as something sufficiently interesting. Again, I have yet to read the Higurashi visual novels, and Sotsu might have been like the last part of the anime, and I think the last parts were the worst. Anywho, I wasn't sure initially whether I would release this VN at all, given Lonely was so popular and several people asked me if I would write more, specifically about the princess who seems to be a favorite. To be quite fair, I mean, kinda the idea of revenge on Medea is interesting. But that repetitiveness and its exact... Here is, I think, the difference between this and Higurashi as well. In Higurashi, the deaths did not repeat themselves in the same way, at least the anime. Even if the characters did not remember stuff, except obviously for you know who, that stuff was changing a little bit. Over here the problem was it was the same. Also, I kind of think what would be interesting as well, if you are not to make it as a revenge for Medea, because I think overall Medea was already broken at the end of It Gets So Lonely here by Rosette basically going away from her grasp and so on. I feel like, again, would be interesting if we got Rosette to have revenge on all three women who made her in a way suffer as well, or more like who caused her death quite a few times. But whatever. Anyway, specifically about the princess who seems to be a favorite. I think Gravedigger was the best overall. Anyway, I don't usually get too self-conscious about my writing, but I was a bit worried this story would fail to live up to expectations since it's so much shorter than Lonely. Didn't feel like it. The action is all consigned to a single location and the princess doesn't show up. There are only two characters this time and one of them isn't present for a significant chunk of the story, so I worried this story wouldn't be interesting for people. I thought about scrapping this project numerous times, but the gorgeous art by Kale Chips and the haunting soundtrack by Yuzuki made me reconsider. I love the OST for the short little VN especially, and... should I say it now? I mean, it's good, but holy crap, I had to tinker with the sound so much because of how much different waves there is to the sound here. Yeah, while editing I spent basically all the time just tinkering with that so it doesn't jump up too high or jump down too low and so on. Yeah. Anyway. And I thought it would be a shame to let it go to waste when so much effort had been put into it. I think the soundtrack is actually better than the story. It's appended to but how this story, the art and the music all comes together in one nice cohesive package. I apologize if this continuation of Lonely isn't quite what people wanted, and I'm sorry that 3 love interests from Lonely don't make a reappearance. Yeah, I guess this is what I mentioned. The revenge on those 3, right, instead. I think their story was concluded nicely already, but I did want to dig a little more into Rosette and Medea. I think they're the most interesting characters in Lonely personally. But also the only characters who have names. And I have fun making them suffer. Yeah, we know that. We know that. I hope this story was diverting. And thank you once again for checking it out. You're the best. I'm definitely not. I couldn't keep creating it if not for the support of the people like you, and really does mean a lot. Ebi. Well, in a way, I do mean to get people to like jump to each or whatever and played other games as well. Now I wonder if I'm missing one song over here or if it's just like empty spot. Don't tell me I'm missing a song over here. No, I don't want to miss a song. I'll pretend I've never seen that. Yeah. Alright, but without reading, we'll quickly jump. Let's see. I don't love you. Or maybe I will just tell you what is happening over there, because I did check quickly and I know everything. All the secrets. There is no new music, it's just a spot here. Oh yeah, let me open the credits as well. Here you go, all the names mentioned and so on. So yeah, you can say you don't love her, obviously. And when that happens, she just proceeds to stab you. And after that, you go straight to the choice again. You don't have to repeat like entire hour of text. You can reject again and again and again and again and again. I think I clicked like 20 times and, you know, it was once again the choice. Do you love her or not? And then you proceed with saying, well, yes, to get the ending we've seen. That is correct. Alright, I've revealed you the secret. Now the video comes to an end. So, all in all, good story. But if you are going through it, I would recommend to not do what I did. So, basically the parts you can skip. Because quite honestly, how many times have I had to read the same thing? 3? I think 3. Reading the same thing 3 times in a row was a little painful. But whatever. Worth it for the twist at the end. Ugh. I'm gonna go take a nap now. Link to the game description as always. Go download the game yourself. Check other games from ebi-hime and so on on Steam or whatever. On both, yeah. But technically, the end of an obsession is not on Steam, so I'm not linking Steam. I'm just linking itch, but you can easily find other games on Steam, obviously, as well. I know you guys are talented, and definitely more talented than me, so if I can find it, you can find more likely. And if, I don't know, consider liking the video, subscribing, so on, always appreciated. Maybe more sort of tired, sleepy Lynx, who is as tired as the narrator, supposedly. And definitely more games, yeah. Adios, bye bye.